レスを除いて証拠を残さないよう完全に消してくれ。
ちょっと。
こっちはもうお前の連絡先は消去してある。
ちょっと待ってよ。なんで急にそんな言い方になるわけ？
Damn, Ayanakoji, don't do my girl K like that. So this episode, so if you guys have been kind of following, our weekly reviews and stuff, like I have like my K counter and like how many times I get to see my girl K. Like there is just something about her that like when we kind of went through her bully arc and everything, like there was something that made me go like something flipped in my head that went from like K kind of sucks to like she's best girl, and from there on I'm just like completely enamored with her. And I like the way that she carries herself. I like the way that she has like different personality. I really dug into it last episode of just like all the different things that she brings to the table, especially something that complements Ayanakoji so well, because she's able to kind of play her part, be very smart, be very methodical, be like a really great actor. She's able to bring a lot of things that Ayanakoji inherently doesn't have, which isn't very much because he's just so intelligent and a physical like beast, right? There's not very much that he has that he doesn't, that he needs kind of filled, but those little holes that he has, I think Kei is able to fill them so well. So this end of the episode, like, Ayanakoji kind of did her dirty a little bit, and he kind of like basically got the cat by the tongue kind of thing there, because like she didn't really know like how to respond to what he was saying, which is basically like, at this point, like, I'm done with you. He's like, I will keep my promise. Like, I will protect you as needed. Like, if there's something else that threatens you, I will be there. I will keep my promise to you. But, like, this back and forth relationship that we've had so far is basically, like, done and over with. Like, I'm not going to use you anymore in the capacity and in the ways that I've used you recently. Like, that is all changing now. So what I kind of see happening is him kind of cutting ties and her kind of figuring out, like, how can she get back into those same good graces again? How can she be used? How can she be valuable to him once again? Because even though, like, Ayanakoji asked Kei this episode, like, hey, I know you didn't like this cold and distant, give and take, mostly take relationship. And he's like, you didn't like that, right? And she's like, no, I didn't. And the reality is, yeah, she totally did. So I think that that what we're going to see next from her as like her character arc is figuring out how to be useful to Ayanakoji again. I don't know exactly what that would be. Maybe that would be something very similar to like, how he's being followed by Class A. Maybe there'll be something else there to where she will try and find and feed him info once again to try and be useful, kind of be in his corner again, kind of forcefully. I kind of think that's where we're going to go, because at this point, it's like, okay, well, what happens next in their relationship? Then this episode, too, you also had Ayanakoji, on top of meeting Papa Ayanakoji, right, which we're going to talk about that in a second. He also got set up by... who was it? He also got set up by Horikita. And the thing about the setup with Horikita is there's two avenues, right? So Ayanakoji went to the library. And that led to two events happening. One, he ended up meeting the girl from Class A. Now I don't know what her name is, but sorry. Let me take a step back. He ended up meeting the girl from Class C, and the girl from Class C was there, basically reorganizing the books and stuff. And he had a chance encounter with her. So it's either one of three things. It's either Horikita knew this girl was going to be there, so she kind of like wanted Ayanakoji to meet her in some way, shape, or form. She wanted Ayanakoji to meet her, and she was like, okay, if you get there by this time, then you will meet this girl. Two, the teacher, wanted Ayanakoji to be in the library. So the professor, used Horikita to get Ayanakoji there to the library to then go meet Papa Ayanakoji. I guess the third pillar to that is kind of like, this is just happenstance. Like, this is just a coincidence that he met that girl and that he got pulled by the professor. And like the third option is just kind of one of plausible deniability, where Horikita truly didn't have any other alternate intentions for Ayanakoji. She just literally sent him there like on a task, which I don't think is the case. So it's definitely one of the two. It's either she sent him there to go meet this girl from Class C to begin like sparking a conversation with somebody who's kind of like a third party who doesn't really want to be a part of what she's part of, or she was manipulated by the professor to send him there so that he can go meet Papa Ayanakoji. But regardless, I find it really interesting that he went there and met somebody from Class C, kind of like got somebody who's semi-interested in him in a way, and not in like a romantic sense, but just like, you know, curious about him. And now he could potentially have an ally or an in to Class C, unlike the bully girls, right? Because he was manipulating the girls who were bullying K at one point, but now he has somebody who could be maybe like a friend, or at least somebody who he can appear to be on a friendship level with. Then before we talk about Papa Ayanakoji, we also had the beginning episode where there was a lot of focus on Airi. We know that ever since Ayanakoji kind of saved Airi from her whole Insta model, fan follower, person who was stalking her, trying to commit crime on her kind of thing, that she's totally had it in for Ayanakoji, and she's been watching him and trying to get closer to him ever since. So she also try and maybe make plans with him, but she's just so unconfident in herself that she's not able to kind of put forth what she really wants. So that's definitely one of those things as well. So, I definitely want to see Airi kind of put more skin in the game, essentially, because so here's the things we have. We have this new girl that he just met. We have Airi, who's been pursuing him for quite some time. And then, I forget what her name is, but we have the purple hair girl from Class D, who's friends with K. So we have these three ladies, essentially, who are trying to vie for... Well, maybe not the white hair girl yet, but at least these two girls who are trying to vie for a romantic something with Ayanakoji. So I'm waiting for one of these two to really pursue him hardcore, and I want to see what ends up happening with the fourth pillar, which is Kei, and how she responds to these actions. Like, I'm just so interested in somebody to really romantically pursue Ayanakoji and see Kei flip her shit about it. Okay, so now let's talk about the last piece, which is the Dr. Ayanakoji stuff. So the very long story short about the scene that happened is he doesn't want Ayanakoji to be in school, right? He wants him to be part of his project. He wants him to be his pet, right? He's his most like he said, he's his most valuable tool. He's his most valuable asset. He's his most valuable a possession, as what he's calling it. Not son or whatever. So the thing that drives me crazy too is, we know that he's a doctor, so I'm assuming at this point that all of these kids are all the kids in part of the White Room, I think, are descendants of Dr. Ayanakoji. So what that means is they were probably scientifically produced, probably by his semen or whatever. Like they're probably DNA biologically his kids, but they probably weren't produced in your standard. His dad doesn't have like a big old harem, probably. They were probably produced scientifically, like in a lab or something. That's why they're disposable. That's why if they die off, he's like, whatever, because at the end of the day, they're probably just like, in not clones, but they're in some way like artificially assimilated and kind of grown up. Like they're humans, but the way they were produced is different than, your standard, you know what I mean? They're probably like inseminated that way. So, I find it interesting that he's trying to get back his highest tier possession. And what ended up stopping that thing from happening is the chairman of the school, which happens to be the dad of the girl who's the leader of Class A. So I find all of that dynamic interesting. But what's even more interesting is the chairman took a strong interest in the Ayanakoji kid because of where he descends from. And now he's kind of like his protector in a sense, because he's like, I'm going to protect all of these assets that are inside of the school, come hell or high water. So now Ayanakoji kind of have this bubble of guardship around him. And in doing all of this, he was also able to find the BS that his professor has been saying, that she has like this tie to his father, which really she's just been trying to, push forth her own agenda, which is getting her to Class A, which she hasn't been able to accomplish, moving up higher ranks. So she's been trying to manipulate Ayanakoji to think that, she has a relationship with his dad, and that's not the case. So I like how he called her out as well, which in turn got the end of the episode where it's like Ayanakoji's like, I'm going to back off completely now at this point. I'm going to let Horikita kind of like handle all the nuances of getting Class D up, which we know is not going to last very long. He's going to have to intervene once again. But man, what a episode. This episode was absolutely fantastic. It was fire. My K counter was like, and I am so excited for what's to come next for K and everything. And I can't wait. You know, most of it's going to be covered in the season 3. Only have a couple of episodes left for season number 2. But season 3, I know like all these setups that are going to roll into season 3 is just fire. And I can't wait to see kind of the end of this season, which I assume is going to be Ayanakoji versus Ryun, which is going to be very exciting as well. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. And my friends, I'll see you guys next Monday for more Classroom of the Elite.